Audio Jungle.
So it's 30 minutes past 9. I welcome you to another exciting edition from the newspaper, streaming live from the premises of the Oasis Hotel, AKINYEMI, IBADAN. Good morning to your viewers. Listen to MFM 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And as you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. Moreover, don't forget this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan. Well, the second segment on the show is the headlines, make round of Nigerian newspaper, and as usual, let's bring 4 newspapers to you every morning: the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and Nigerian Tribune. Where the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is SHAQEEROH AKINYEMI. So moving on to the first segment on the show, which is the weather forecast report. And the first city I'm bringing on is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning is rain with 23 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is mostly cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. Up until 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. with 22 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
To the commercial city of Lagos. At 10 a.m. in Lagos this morning is intermittent cloud with 26 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is mostly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. is rain with 28 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is rain with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is partly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 27 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 10 p.m. is cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. Up until 11 p.m. is cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. Moving on to the last city on the first segment, which is the vibrant city of Ibadan. At 10 a.m. in Ibadan this morning is cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 1 p.m. is showers with 31 degrees Celsius. At 2 p.m. is showers with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 32 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 5 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 7 p.m. is mostly clear with 27 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. is mostly clear with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 9 p.m. is mostly clear with 24 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is mostly clear with 24 degrees Celsius. And at 11 p.m. is partly cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
to the second segment on the show, which is the headlines breaking around the Nigerian newspaper. And the first newspaper we're bringing on is the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning says, Presidency rejects World Bank's poverty report, and page 2 has the analysis to that story. And there are two riders to that story. The first rider says, Nigerians living in poverty rose from 115 million in 2023 to 139 million in 2025, says World Bank. And the last rider says, Presidency disputes data, defense reform, World Bank urges action on inflation, poverty, and
Audio Jungle.
And above the line of the Punch newspaper says, Dangote refinery engineers on war path over the employment, and page 19 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Says Nigeria lost $10 billion to Northeast conflict, and page 7 has the details to that story. Still on the Punch newspaper, other story says, opposition slams governors as state IGR soars by 50%, and page 19 has the details to that story. Killings. Federal government disagrees as Khan backs U.S. Senator, in page 7 has the details to that story. Strike. Federal government also in high stakes talks, in page 12 has the details to that story. Fraud. Interpol arrest wanted Nigerians in Argentina, and page 5 has the details to that story. And the last story on the Punch newspaper says, Labour Party senators shrink to 4 as Joko joins APC, and page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. The lead story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, new INEC chair for Council of States prevailed today, in page 5 has the details to that story. Of riders to that story. The first rider says, Tinubu to present nominees at today's meeting and put it on in top contention screen. President infirms control of nomination process. Another rider says, our politician tries to force choice of nominees. And last rider says, APC chairman's institutional input, and page 5 of the analysis to that stories. Nigerians living in poverty despite reform gains, says World Bank on page 19 has the details to that story. The Vanguard newspaper says, Seni Sumal's Defense Minister, Chief of Army Staff, IGP, over insecurity in Kwara South, and page 8 has analysis to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Story says my resignation, not admission of guilt, says Nanji. And there's one reader to that story that says article urges probe of Tinubu cabinet members' academic records, and page 8 has the details to that story. I support 80% of Tinubu's reform, but, says Sanusi, and page 18 has the details to that story. Alleged terrorism, NMA reports towards Nnamdi Kanu's trial, and page 11 has the details to that story. Defection of senators, Akpabio, Moro in War of Words, and page 26 has details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Still on the Vanguard newspaper, another story says court orders arrest of ex-INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakub for contempt, and page 24 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Alleged genocide, Christians' lives not static, says Count tells federal government, and page 7 has the details to that story. Story on the Vanguard newspaper says Nasji, global order losing empathy, Nigeria must produce for itself, says Edun, and page 15 has the details to that story. To the Guardian newspaper. The list story on the Guardian newspaper says World Bank, Nigeria's reforms yielded stability, not relief for poor, and page 6 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Local government areas under attack, says Benue Emergency Agency, and page 29 has the details to that story. NCC confiscates pirated books valued at 100 million naira in Lagos shops, and page 5 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Presidency orders military to flush bandits out of Kwara Forest. In page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Presidency rep no claims of genocide against Christians. To inform your hand in page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Another story on the Guardian newspaper says jam screens 176 underage candidate aimed push for policy review. In page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
INEC court order IGP Egbetokun to arrest Yakubu. In page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
You can't develop without investment, Obasanjo says. In page 29 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Still on the Guardian newspaper, under story says Nigeria resignation split opinion exposes cracks in vetting system. In page 6 has the analysis to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And the last story on the Guardian newspaper says Rep Suman Tuga, envoy of $54 million foreign mission funds. In page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Moving on to the last newspaper on the second segment, which is Nigerian Tribune. And the latest story on Nigerian Tribune says insecurity. 76 permanent military base in Kwara, South as army steps up action. In page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And there are a lot of riders to that story. The first rider says to invite Minister of Defense, IGP. Over 142 kidnapped, 70 killed within 12 months. 25 communities deserted, Kwara South Senator says. Another says police deployed special squad in Ekiti, boundary communities. And the last rider says Oyo PDP calls for effective border patrol of southwest states. In page 3 has analysis to that stories.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Reps reject US Senate move to designate Nigeria as country of particular concern. In page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Nigerian Tribune says federal government begs ASU to shelve strike, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there's one writer to that story that says Yayale Ahmed committee to present federal government fresh offer to ASU, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
JAB screens 176 underage candidates for admissions, and page 25 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Health says exposing children to e-waste pollution can cause hypertension, says experts, in page 8 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
139 million Nigerians living in poverty, says World Bank, and page 5 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there are two riders to that story. The first rider says project 4.4% economic growth by 2027, and the last rider says reform must translate into better living standard for citizens, and page 5 has analysis to that stories.
Audio Jungle.
Nigerian Travel 6 knocks for Tinubu, APC overs Nanji, and there's one rider to that story that says Tinubu should prosecute Nanji, says article. And last rider says PDP seeks probe of more people in government, inaugurates security subcommittee for Ibadan convention, and page 4 has analysis to that stories.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
So we have come to the end of the second segment. Before we move into the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
ìwòyìn àsìkò lọ́lọ́kan ọ̀dọ̀kan eré ìdárayá orin tó dùn gbọ́sẹ̀ tí àtàwọn ètò tí ń kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n ẹ gbọ́ wa kétékété lórí ayélujára wọ̀nyí lórí Facebook àti MFM TV, lórí Twitter àti MFM TV, lórí Instagram àti MFM TV, pẹ̀lú YouTube àti MFM TV. Ilé ìtura DS àwọn tó lápẹ́tẹ́ nílùú Ìbàdàn lákàlẹ̀ sí o. Fún ìpolówó ọjà iléeṣẹ́ yín ẹ lè pè wá sórí nọ́mbà wọ̀nyí o: 081591942 àti 47. Ẹ tún lè pè wá sórí aago yìí o: 080224841 pẹ̀lú 24 ni ẹ pè sí o. Mọ́mí àti dádì ẹ̀dọ̀wé MFM ni ẹ mọ̀ gbọ́ lójoojúmọ́ nígbà gbogbo.
The Aces Hotels and Conference Center is one and only event place with a clear difference and tasteful excellence here in the ancient city of Ibadan. For your next and upcoming event, whether marriage engagement, wedding reception, anniversaries, conferences, seminars, or birthday, the Aces Hotels and Conference Center is affordable and fully equipped with all imaginable ultra-modern facilities for your total convenience without headache, security, power, environment, parking space, and royal service by their staff. All roads lead to the Aces Hotel and Conference Center today at kilometer 2.5 Ijokodo Akbete Akufo Road, Akere, Ibadan. For booking and more information, call 080-8746-7420, 080-9744-1898, or 080-2869-0012. The Oasis Hotels and Conference Center, where comfortability speaks than words.
Ìgbà tó tó gbá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi, kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò. Bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó pójú owó, orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí, àṣà, ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan. Ìkànnì MFM rédíò ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò.
Ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi lọ́kùnrin àti lóbìnrin, lọ́mọdé àti lágbà, orúkọ mi ni olóyè Dr. Lérè Pàímọ́ Ẹ̀dánilọ́lá mẹ́fà. Mo ń fi àsìkò ìròyìn wípé kẹ́ máa gbọ́ FM rédíò and TV nígbà gbogbo, torí pé ẹ máa kọ́gbọ́n bẹ̀, ẹ máa nímọ̀, ẹ máa lóye gbogbo ìgbà. Títẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ wọn létí, ojú tẹ́ fi ń wò wọ́n gbé fọ́, ẹ máa gbọ́ wọn, ẹ máa ṣe iṣẹ́ tí yín náà ní dísẹ́mọ̀ ẹ lọ́wọ́. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, mo dúpẹ́.
Welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFA97.3, and as you're watching us, do well to like, comment and share. We're now in the last segment of From the Newspaper this morning, which is the details to the headlines. And the first story we're bringing on says, Presidency rejects World Bank's poverty report. The presidency has disputed the latest economic report by the Nigeria's biggest multilateral lender, the World Bank, which estimated that 139 million citizens were living in poverty, describing the figure as unrealistic and dated from the country's economic realities. President Bola Tinubu's special advisor on media and public communication, Sunday Dare, said in a post on his official X handle on Wednesday that the global poverty line from $2.15 per person per day, set in 2017 using purchasing power parities, and should not be mistaken for the actual handouts of poverty Nigerians. It noted that when they converted to a nominal terms, the 2.15 benchmark equal to 100,000 per month at current exchange rate, which is well above Nigeria's new minimum wage of 70,000. According to the former minister, poverty estimates under the PDP methodology rely on the historical consumption data, often overlooking the vast informal and the subsistence economic that is sustaining millions of Nigerian households. The government therefore considered the World Bank's estimate as a modeled global projection, not an empiric representation of living conditions in 2025. He stressed that what truly matters is not the statistic figure but the direction of change. He said Nigeria's economic is now on recovery and reform trajectory, driving for the policies designed to ensure the inclusive growth and social protection. It noted that the current administration has expanded the number of welfare and intervention programs aimed at cushioning the impact of recent reform, while laying the groundwork of the long-term prosperity. The government emphasized that economic reform alone is not enough unless it translates into real welfare gain for ordinary Nigerians. According to the statement, the administration's medium temporary priorities is to ensure that microeconomic stability leads to affordable food, quality jobs, and reliable infrastructure. Investments are being ramped up to agriculture, manufacturing, and power reliability, including new gas-to-power projects, and skill development are expected to boost job creation and reduce living costs.
Audio Jungle.
Nigeria Best University for 2026. The University of Ibadan, Oyo State, has been ranked Nigeria Best University in the Times Higher Education World University Ranking 2026. The ranking published on the website on Thursday placed in Ibadan-based Federal University between 801 and 1,000 globally and ahead of other leading Nigerian universities on the spot is last aired in 2023. They surveyed 2,191 institutions from 115 countries and assessed them based on 18 performance indicators across 5 key areas: teaching, research environment, researching quality, industry, and international outlook. UI came from the 4th position in 2025 to emerge as the Nigeria Best in 2026 ranking. It detroits Covenant University, which was the best university in 2024 and 2025. Following UIs and the University of Lagos, Bayero University, and CU ranked 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Nigeria respectively. The 2026 list reflected in a shift to the global higher education landscape, with more than 174.9 million citations from 18.7 million research publication analysts and survey response from over 180,000 scholars collectively globally. The ranking showed that the strength of the individual institution, UNILAG, is ranked the highest in quality research, scoring 66.7. BOK is ranked as the best Nigerian university in terms of international outlook, while Covenant has the highest industry score, indicating its top connection to industries. Out of its 5 Nigerian institutions features the 2026 ranking, only UI and UNILAG falls between 101 to 1,000. BOK, CU, and Landmark University fall between 1,001 to 1,002, while the 5 schools Ahmadu Bello University, Federal University of Technology, Minna University of Ilorin, University of Jos, University of Nigeria, and stand globally between 1,301 to 1,500.
Audio Jungle.
Interpol arrests wanted in Nigeria and Argentina. The International Criminal Police Organization has confirmed the arrest of wanted Nigeria, identified as Ikechukwu N by the Argentina authorities. Interpol, in an update on its X handle on Tuesday, disclosed that Ikechukwu has been on its wanted list for allegedly orchestrating multiple romance scams involving thousands of women. The suspect was also accused of leading an according to the police organization. Ikechukwu arrest was part of a special operation begun in 2025 aimed in helping countries trace the recovery criminal assets, National Cybercrime Network. This is not the first time Interpol was executed similarly crackdown on cyber-enabled criminal network operating from West Africa. It follows an ongoing international crackdown on cybercrime network operated by West African syndicates, including recent arrests in Europe, the Middle East, and the South Asia linked to similar fraud operation. The Punch Metro reported that in August 2024 that Operation Jackal 3 released the secret of the $3 million in illicit assets and freezing over 700 bank accounts on authorities sought to dismantle the cybercrime arms of Bank of Axe Mafia. Similarly, in August 2025, the Punch Metro reported that a Nigerian man pleaded guilty to a U.S. romance scam involving more than $405,000, showing the prevalence of such a fraud scheme involving Nigerian suspects. These cases illustrate a pattern of the transnational cybercrime targeting vulnerable victims by romance fraud and demonstrate Interpol's sustained focus on covering the syndicates globally.
Audio Jungle.
Opposition slams government as state IGR soars by 50%. The surge of substitutional revenue has drawn mixed reaction from stakeholders nationwide, including labor union leaders and opposition parties, many of whom have criticized poor revenue management and the neglect of key projects at both federal and state levels. It follows Monday release of internal generated revenue data by the National Bureau of Statistics, showing that the state combined revenue jumped by 50% to 3.65 trillion naira in 2024. Even depending on the monthly disbursements from the Federal Account Allocation Committee persisted. 12 states recovered over 50% revenue growth, while 24 states posted less than 50%, underscoring the structural weakness of the state economies and the reliance of FAC allocation. Labour leader, opposition parties, and the civil society group who spoke to the Punch in the separate interview acknowledged that impressive growth in IGR, but questioned the transparency and impact on citizen welfare. Opposition slams government states.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
suspend enforcement of tinted glass law. The Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has temporarily suspended the enforcement of motor vehicle prohibition of tinted glass at 191. A statement today by the 4th Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Udenyi, said the decision following the meeting between the police chief and delegation of the Nigerian Bar Association led by its president, Afam Osigwis, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, and the force headquarters Abuja. He said the discussion focused on the ongoing enforcement and the tinted glass law and the need of cooperation between the police and the bar in the upholding the rules of law and promoting public confidence. Odeyin said although there is no clear-cut order halting and enforcement of the law, the police suspend the exercise out of consideration for the interests of the Nigerian and regard for the National Nigerian Bar Association, pending the hearing of a motion on the notice scheduled for October 16, 2025 at the Federal High Court, Warri Delta State. He said to strengthen cooperation, a joint police NPA committee has been inaugurated to enhance collaboration between both institutions. The court further ordered the police to maintain the status quo, effectively halting the action against motorists until the case is resolved. On October 4, the first public relations officer who then stated on X that the police had not yet been formally served within the court of order.
Audio Jungle.
Dangote refinery engineer on what part over fresh redeployment. Some of the engineers sacked by the Dangote refinery for allegedly joining Petrol and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has described the plan to redeploy them to sugar, cement and other business units under Dangote Group. The worker, who spoke with the Punch anonymously due to the sensitivity of the matter, said the company was victimizing them to unionization. However, the Dangote media team debunked this claim on Wednesday, saying there are Pengasa members still working in the refinery. Pengasa shut down oil and gas facility between Sunday and Tuesday last week over the allegation that 800 refineries workers were fired for volunteering to be a member of the union. The Dangote refinery said it only sacked a few workers who work sabotaging the facility, targeting the organization. Oil and gas workers went on strike in defense of their colleagues, causing the nation losses in oil and gas production as well as a drop in power generation. The intervention of the federal government restored peace and Dangote Group was asked to redeploy the sacked workers. Speaking with a Punch correspondent, the worker said they have yet to be recalled or redeployed as of Tuesday. Sources within the Dangote Group had earlier told the Punch correspondent that the company was ready to redeploy the engineers to its sugar and cement plants. It was claimed that the company would also recruit new engineers to replace the redeployed ones, and the deployments would be urged in loss of the company. The Punch correspondent also gathered that some of the 800 workers could be deployed to the units within groups operation outside the country, but the affected workers said they were not pleased with the development. According to them, the appointment letter showed that they were specifically employed by the refinery and not the Dangote Group, saying being transferred out of the company, that the employment would have been unfair to them, and wondering how the petrochemical engineer would cope at the sugar plant. The engineer disclosed that they have been sitting at home since September 25 after the company issued a letter of sack all staff, though the company said it sacked a few workers for sabotage. According to the engineer, 800 of them were asked to stay away pending when they would have redeployed. They recorded that the precious attempts to access the refinery were baffled by the security agents at the gate. Speaking further, the workers explained that they wouldn't have joined the Pengasan if they were well paid. They have clarified that the decision to join the Pengasan came after the Dangote management announced that the workers were afraid to reunionize. Alright, so before moving on, let's go on a short break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Audio Jungle.
àjàmọ̀ kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí tá a bá rere káwí bá a rere ìkànnì MFM Radio and TV ẹ̀yẹ tí ó dorí kodò bí àdó sí ẹ má ìró ń bẹ̀ fún ìròyìn tí ò lábùlà ìròyìn.
gbogbo ọ̀yà ni ó mọ pera rẹ̀ lódù bó bá jẹ́ níbi tí ká bá ní ra mọ́tò láti òkè òkun tàbí o fẹ́ ra ojúlówó mọ́tò ilé tí ó já lálòpẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ mọ́tò Onabis Automobile òní oyè àkànṣí eléyìí tó kalẹ̀ sí kìlómítà 8 Old Ife Road àdójúkọ ilé ìtajà àgbàlódé Brent sọ́ọ̀mì nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn bóyá ẹ̀yin fẹ́ ra mọ́tò tàbí ẹ fẹ́ gbé mọ́tò ránṣẹ́ láti ilẹ̀ òkèrè sórílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà kódà orí ọ̀fẹ́ wà láti bá yín ṣe àmójútó láti bá yín ṣe àyẹ̀wò sí mọ́tò yín iléeṣẹ́ Onabis Automobile ohun gẹ́gẹ́ ni mò ń pè níyàn o ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ni 0803 371 0636 0803 371 0636 Onabis Automobile boom 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 boom.
Welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. So we're ready to lead #FreeNamdi now protest October 20 in Abuja. Activist and former presidential candidate African Action Congress Omoyele Sowore has announced October 20 as a date for the protest march to demand the release of the leader of the prescribed indigenous people of Biafra Nnamdi Kanu. Sowore made this known on his X handle today. According to him, the protest would be a historic march to also Rock Villa in Abuja, while assuring that it will be conducted peacefully and legally to demand the release of the IPOB leader. On Wednesday, Sowore urged all Southeast governors, lawmakers, traditional rulers, and religious leaders to join the demonstration. Also emphasized that he had reached out to other prominent Igbo leaders, including Anambra State Governor Professor Chokwu Soludo, Senator Enyiawa Arabia, Abia State Governor Mr. Alex Oti, and Labour Party 23 presidential candidate Peter Obi to join the protest.
Audio Jungle.
Labour Party Senator shrinks to 4 as Chukwu joins APC. The ruling All Progressive Congress on Wednesday consolidated its dominance in the state after Senator Kelvin Chukwu, representing Enugu East Senatorial District, formally defeated from the Labour Party to APC. His defection, announced by the state president Godwin Akpabio during plenary, raised the APC's strength in the 10th Senate to 73 seats, giving the party a firm two-thirds majority to tighten its grip to the upper legislative chamber. Chukwu, who replaced the Islam brother Oyinbo Chukwu in the 2023 election, blamed his move on the lingering crisis within the Labour Party. With his exit, the Labour Party presents in the Senate and drained to just 4 members, leaving Senator Okeze Enugu North as the only Labour Party senator from Enugu State. The People Democratic Party currently holds 28 seats, while the Social Democratic Party and New Nigerian People's Party have won each. All Progressive Congress Alliance rests to senator. The development further cement the APC's legislative dominance, coming months after 4 opposition senators, Francis Fadahunsi, Osun State, Osun East, Oluwole Olubiyi, Osun Central, Anike Mbasi, Akwa Ibom North East, and Samson Ekong, Akwa Ibom South, dumped the PDP for the ruling party and aimed internal wrangling. At the plenary, Akpabio seized the moment to rape the opposition, describing the defection as the evidence to disarray within the minority parties.
Audio Jungle.
last story from the newspaper this morning says AKINYEMI governor signed 795 billion 2025 supplementary budget into law. AKINYEMI State Governor Umo Eno has signed into law of 695 billion supplementary budget passed by the State House of Assembly. The Senate House of Assembly on Tuesday passed a supplementary appropriation bill of 795 billion for the 2025 fiscal year, following the adoption of the report presented by the House of Committee on Finance and Appropriation. Presenting the committee report during the plenary, presided over the Speaker, Right Honorable Udem Otong. The chairman of the committee, Etorobong Etim, explained that the supplementary budget would not be financed through the various revenue sources, including statutory allocation, internally generated revenue, derivation funds 13%, derivation area, signature bonuses, exchange gain, and value-added tax, among others. According to the report, the 695 billion supplementary budget comprised 125.66 billion naira for recurrent expenditure and 569.33 billion naira for capital expenditure, bringing the revised total budget seats for 2025 to 1.65 trillion. It said the new figure includes 425.66 billion naira for current service and 122 trillion naira for capital expenditure. The organization's 2025 budget and 955 billion naira was passed by the Assembly in December 2024. However, according to the statement obtained from the government